Hi, Janine. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Where do you join me from?
Brighton near West Sussex, UK.
Oh, okay.
You know Gavin then.
I love Gavin. Yes.
Have you written a book, O books?
No, I've only interviewed hundreds of his authors, though.
Okay. Don't. But I would like to know what year you're born in.
So I am the year of the dragon. So this is my
Oh,
year.
I love dragons. If anyone ever asked me which is my favorite animal, which they always do, I always say dragons. I
Yeah?
have affinity with dragons. They're mystical, they're intuitive, they're just my people. Do you know what I mean? So what month are you born in, just for me?
My birthday is May 15th. So
Oh,
I'm a
dragons.
Taurus. Yeah.
Hey. All about the love. But your superpower is your intuition, by the way. If you have a superpower, it's your intuition.
I'm super excited to talk about this because, as a child, that was like my favorite thing to get the magazine and like scroll to the back. And I always wanted to find that if they had the compatibility,
Ah,
notes that went with your horoscope.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, so Date Love Marry Avoid was built on the fact that growing up, like you, I learned a lot about Western astrology. I didn't know that much. I learned so much more because I keep being interviewed by Western astrologers, which
Mhm.
I am loving because we're actually finding that the crossover is huge.
Okay.
I think they're different, but they're not different at all. They are very much the same. So, like you, growing up, towards incompatibility, and then there was a book when I was quite young, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus.
Yes,
And
read
I
that
got,
one.
I really got stuck on it. And I thought, do you know what? I can't find a book with Chinese astrology that's the same. So I settled down with it. I have to get the title first. That's weird about, most people like do the title last. So I went for Date, Love, Marry, Avoid because I just thought it said it all. Then I got my cover and then I started writing the book. And because I've been studying Chinese astrology, oh, I don't know, 2008. So, well, I do loads of readings for people. I started, they would like tell you their date of birth and then they would say people around them, how they affected their lives. And I could see some synergy in it. So I started working on it. And then I wrote in the book all the different characteristics of all the Chinese animals, so that if people reason it, then what they could do is they could read about their partner because it says date, love, marry, avoid. And someone said to me, a couple of people said, oh, it said avoid. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, that's fine if it says avoid. But, when you go read about them, there were things that you fell in love with. And no relationship is perfect, let's be honest. And they have said they've gone back and said, oh, yeah, that is the thing that really annoys me. Like, you're a dragon, so dogs will annoy you because dragons are really out there. Yeah. And a dog will be more methodical, trustworthy, all that sort of thing. But whereas a dragon is really strong out there and will say what it feels and have very strong views, a dog will be happy at home, not saying they don't go to sports and all these sort of things, working on stamps or, they can go very much into themselves. So whereas the dragon could be very out there, when the dog and the dragons get together, they have this little bit of, well, I don't know if you're right. Maybe you're right. Okay. But in the book, I might not give them a date. I might say, just don't go out on a date. Yeah. But there are so many animals that you get on really well with,
Good.
so many. Rats, dragons and rats get on amazingly well because both of you are very strong viewed on what you think about and how you feel about things, but you don't do it in a retaliative way. You like to listen to each other. So that really works. Monkeys are very good for dragons. You have more fun because monkeys are about the fun stuff, yeah. But then monkeys can, there's this big show, they're all happy, but behind they can become quite lonely. And when the dragon comes in and sees it, can really support the monkey. So it's like these are the sort of examples. So the book's based around that. It gives dates to go on. Don't have to go on the dates. Although, how about this? Someone said to me, we got the book and I was reading it, and it said that my husband and I should go to New York and have a glass of champagne. And guess what he bought her for Christmas? That. And they had the
Mm.
best time ever. So, there's good sides to it as well.
That's so amazing. So you just kind of start observing all of these different almost archetypes, right?
Yeah.
And seeing, like what were their strengths and what were their weaknesses and started putting it together.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did do. I spent a lot of time on it because you can meet like as an opposite, like a rooster. I'm a rooster. My clash is a rabbit, yeah. So you think, oh, right, so that's the clash. But we just clash over, we might turn up with exactly the same clothes on.
Okay.
Because we're both into fashion and we love the same things. So we'll go into a shop together because I actually have a very good rabbit friend. And we'll go into the shop together and we'll come out of the changing rooms with exactly the same stuff on. We're just like, really? Or we'll go somewhere, we meet for coffee and we haven't told each other and we've got the same. So the clash isn't a clash that's so horrific. It's just like, do you really want to turn up in the same clothes as your best mate? So it's not always about finding your soulmate because I put in like, what's your favorite day? What's your favorite color? What's your lucky number, etc. And actually, some of the people, well, one of my friends said to me, I took your book to the family Christmas, and it's like I get on with dad, but I don't get on with mum as well. So they use it like so soulmate isn't always about your partner because your best friend could be your soulmate, can't it?
Oh yeah, my best friend definitely is my soulmate. And also, this is kind of funny. Just a few days ago, my kids and I were all looking up what we were. And it was so interesting, because we really were curious. And so I find it funny. My youngest daughter and I were both Tauruses and we're both dragons.
Okay, so right. That's amazing. So you're both dragon and snake, yeah. And where I said intuitional, empathic is the word as well. Snake is really the more empathic. It's the ability to generally see things before they happen. And it's quite, when they're younger, they sometimes slip up more. As we get older, we don't tend to say, oh, I knew that was going to happen. We don't
Because
voice
we
what
doubt
we,
it a little
yeah.
bit. Or yeah.
Whereas children are pure, they just say it. So I have a son, he's actually a pig, but Chinese ways pig. And we just I grew up teaching him that anything's possible and never clouded it. I remember once, and I don't know if this got anything to do with it, but he said, Mum, there's a wolf in the garden, it's got the cat. And I was like, what do you mean? When he went to bed. Next morning, I get up and my little cat, its leg had been dislocated. No wolf, obviously, but he had seen that as that intuitively he knew that cat had got into danger. And he, when they're young, 6 or 7, it's wolves, isn't it? So
Mhm.
it's about never shutting anybody down,
Mhm.
always giving them a little bit of time to understanding. I feel.
I know. And I love learning. I almost love learning more about their signs and their charts and stuff because it helps me understand them more. And it also helps me understand our relationship.
Yeah.
And so, like, I have a daughter who is about to be 25. Her birthday's 2/22/99, and she was born at 5:55.
222.
Mhm.
My son's second of the second, so I thought
Oh, okay.
So the book's generic. It's not done on all the fire. It's done generically on rabbits, different rabbits. So you have
I didn't know
the
this.
5 elements. You have a fire rabbit, you have an earth
Oh.
rabbit, you have a metal rabbit, you have a water rabbit, and you have a wood rabbit. If you have a wood rabbit, you have a rabbit that will never stop talking. Never, 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 never stop talking. If you have a water rabbit, you have a rabbit that is very family orientated. And we just had a water rabbit last year. And water rabbits are very much about being social, family, that sort of thing. And then if you have metal rabbits, they tend to go 2 ways. If you think of a sword, cutting them in half, they find it hard to make decisions. So you can go much deeper into it. With the Chinese astrology, we use the year that you're born, which is friends and family, the month that you're born, which is career. Yeah. So if I was interviewing someone and I could say, so she might be a rabbit in career in her month. Yeah. And then she would make a very good counselor. Yeah. But then if she was a rooster in her career, she might maybe make a really good solicitor. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's quite deep. And then you have the day, and the day you're born is your relationship with yourself and your partner. And the hour you're born is the relationship with your children and your wealth. So when I do a reading, basically, say I'm doing something for a company will have its own date when it started. So then they'll say to me, want to launch product, Janine, when's the best time? Yeah. So
Okay.
that's how the company use me. But you coming to me for a reading would be about all the people around you, you know, your 4 children, your partner, and see how you integrate and how you get on. So the book Date, Love, Marry is a simplification of that. So when
Okay.
people say, oh, it says avoid, I'm like, yeah, it's a little bit more than that. This is a fun book to pick up, but tells you a lot about yourself. That's the whole point of it. Yeah.
And everyone around you.
And everyone around you. Yeah. So my mum, she was a snake. She passed last year, and we had quite a good relationship. But when it came to our careers, I was like the black sheep. I went down my spiritual path. She wanted me to be a secretary. So there was that clash, you know. She wanted me to have a proper job, which she thought was a proper job, not what I do as a feng shui consultant and everything. She turned and understood in the end. But when you've got a 17, 18-year-old going, I can't sit in the classroom, Mum, I just can't take it in. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there's different ways that different people don't get on. But so what are your other children then? What other animals are they?
So I have one that's a goat and one that's an ox.
Do they get on?
Do they get along?
Mm.
They're all so different. Every one of my kids are so different. My daughter, who's the rabbit, which I don't know what kind of rabbit.
What year was she born in?
Yeah, she was the one who was 99.
So she's 99, so water.
Oh,
Um, so she'd have been probably a metal rabbit, I would think.
okay.
What month is she born in?
February. So she's the 222,
Oh, okay, so
99.
that's the tiger. Yeah. So she's born in the year of the rabbit,
Uh,
and the month
okay.
of February
Okay,
is
it's tiger.
tiger month. So her career, she is a go-getter. So she'll go out and get things. So if you were looking at the book, you'd look at a tiger for her career, then you would see more of the characteristics in that. I have broken it down in the book so you can work out your year and your month and your hour. So she would be a go-getter. And tigers are very successful, very
Yeah,
successful.
she is. So isn't that amazing? So just by these three little things in 2 seconds, you had mentioned the rabbit, the wood would be a talker. If this person is actually opposite in their life, what does that show? Is it showing an imbalance or
It probably will be about imbalance in their chart, which will mean that one of the animals within them, yeah, so year, one animal, you can double or triple up, by the way. I have got something that's got 3 roosters. So the year is an animal. Yeah. Oh dear, she's lovely. Year is one animal, the month is an animal. So they're the outsides, yeah. So then you have an animal for the day and an animal for the hour. So if you had a
right?
monkey in your outside chart, so you're born in the year of the monkey, yeah, but you'd be born on the day of the tiger, because monkeys and tigers clash, that sort of person will find it very hard to make a decision, because tigers are decision makers.
Mm,
Monkeys don't. So when you say, so you can undo things. I was working with a designer, absolutely amazing, thrown into colors and all her favorite things. But to go out and actually make a decision for her business was so hard, because you said, as I do know all my animals. So as soon as you say something, I'll be like, ah, yeah, I know. But one of the things which is really important, I think, is that when you get given hardships or challenges,
mhm.
I never see them as bad, because I have learnt my biggest answers to my world by having a challenge.
Yeah.
So you
How you
know,
grow. Yeah.
yeah, and you get to know more of what you truly are and what you want, because we're not born knowing what we want. We get born knowing what our parents want for us, don't we?
Right.
But what I've done in my journey in Chinese astrology is learnt to learn more about myself, and I think that's really important, you know, and my negatives. You know,
Yes.
every one of us comes with negatives.
Right.
Um, mine's usually, oh, I want that Range Rover, you know, as I'm always told, oh, I want that. And I think when you, like, as I say in the book, when you start to read all the things, they will resonate with you.
Oh. I know it. That's what I find is just so amazing. A lot of people will say like, Taurus are stubborn and bullheaded. And mine's not an obvious one, but I am.
The thing about the snake, which is a month of May, you have this secretness about you.
Mm,
It's not saying you're sly,
right.
it's
Keep
secretness.
it in. Yeah.
And you keep it in,
Yeah.
um, and you will not actually reveal it unless really pushed by someone really close to you that would actually say, that knows you like your best friend. She'll know it,
Yeah.
but other people will just, I mean, it takes a lot for people to care about each other, doesn't it? Because people always put themselves first, if we're being honest. Unless
Yeah.
you're a mother, unless you're a mother, and then you learn that you have to drink cold tea and cold coffee and all this sort of thing. But so what so it does match up about the Taurus and the snake. But it says you're very good with figures when you're working out your accounting, like the job you're, as a podcaster, it will be precisely right. It's like a bit of an OCD effect on it,
It's
really.
so true.
Yeah, it has to be perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, I know my kids always tell me it doesn't have to be perfect. And the one who tells me that the most is the my youngest one who aligns with me, who's a dragon and a Taurus. But her birthday is at the end of April.
So she will be a double dragon. I'm going to say something out loud here. She could
Uh-oh.
be, right, Mother Teresa,
Mm,
or she could be Al Capone. She can live in the dark world or she can live in the good world. She
so true.
aligns to it. It's not like the goat who will not make a decision, not make a decision. She is very strong, but double
Mm,
dragon, massive, massive. October 8th to November 6th, I think, you need to give her, some extra attention just so she knows, because she this
mhm.
year is quite a hard year in that she's in her year and a lot going on. It's like she
Okay.
needs to lead the way
Okay.
all the time.
My partner is also a Taurus, and he is a rabbit. I think he's a wood, and he is not a talker. But when he does talk, everybody shuts up because there's all this wisdom that'll come from him.
So is he 1975 rabbit?
Hmm.
1975, yeah. So he is a wood rabbit. And is he a May baby or is
Yeah,
he
May. Hmm.
after May the 6th?
May 12th.
Okay, yeah. So what happens there? Okay, so he's wood and the element for snake is fire.
Mm,
So where he comes from when he does talk, it comes from a form of wisdom because we know the snake is intuitive and we know it has wisdom behind it. So that's where it comes from. But home is very important to them. And
mm.
I think by the sounds of your family, just what we've without their charts in front of me, just what we're saying, I think home is the heart for them.
Yeah.
The kitchen very important to them.
Yeah, especially to my partner.
Yeah, you've got rabbit. So some people might have like horses and rats in their house, and generally they won't get on. Yeah, so you have to be very aware. Like the client that I just talked about, their husband took her to New York. In her house, she has snakes and oxes as well, which doesn't match them, but the kids are like tight, and she will give them the extra thing because of her own personality. And they all thought that was amazing that he did that for her. So that you
Mm.
can mess it up. There's not a problem, but I think it's quite, when people told me about Christmas that they took it to this Christmas family, there's 17 of them around Christmas lunch, and the book got handed round to see which animal they were.
Uh-huh.
And the stories that I was told was actually really good fun. So yeah. And another client of mine, she owns a beauty salon, and she, rather than for putting magazines out, she's put the book out. And she said it's literally all the women like, oh my
Right.
goodness, so it's like this, it's like a nail studio and that, and they're all talking between them. And I was really surprised when someone else the other day and I went, you put my book out, but it's just so much fun. Everybody enjoys it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my kids do this kind of stuff all the time. It's so fun to learn. Like, what are you? I mean, even sometimes we're all comparing, what moon were you born on? And it is fun. And then you get to, oh, this is why you're like this. And of course, you're always wanting to see who you're most compatible with and who you're not. Now, if you're not compatible, with somebody, like those opposites attract sometimes, right? And can you have harmony?
You can have a form of harmony, and I do believe opposites attract. But for instance, I was somewhere and someone said, "Oh, I got your book. I've been going at this guy for 3 years, and you've got us a void." And I'm like, "How's it going then?" And she went, "Oh, you know." But some people stay with people when they're the
Yeah.
wrong people, and I don't mean that in a nasty way. Some people are attracted to, I don't know what you call it, chaos maybe, and that
Yeah.
relationship becomes chaos. And so when people have talked to me, I've said, well, just tell me about your relationship, tell me about your animals, and I will tell you something about yourself. And
Mm.
you can get drawn into that.
Yeah.
That's like the life you lead, isn't it?
You could also be like I remember when my daughter she bought a hamster and my partner when we brought it home, he was like, "Oh boy, it's a lesson learner."
Yeah, they tend to go to sleep and not wake up, don't they?
Yeah. And and it was a lesson though. So sometimes those, relationships that are chaotic are also lessons, of what not to.
100%. 100%. I mean, if you think about your very, some not necessarily your first love, because that could be the right thing
Mhm.
during our life. I mean, I'm not saying people have lots of partners, but you do meet sometimes the wrong people. But also, I think that, I do think you get attracted to people like they say Libra and Aries are very attracted to each other and they're opposite signs. But you have to
Mhm.
find your way to stay or understand what you need. So what I understand is Aries are really sexual, they're this, they're this, they're this, they're this. Libra and they're out there doing things. And Libra like to be homers, all this sort of thing, or like everything
Yeah.
to be balanced. And I think going back, I think that that's the thing with all the animals. I think the Chinese animals, we all have that. It's what do we want? Because we're all made up. There's so many different things, aren't we? Yeah, I get what you're saying. So
Yeah.
the lesson learned about the hamster was
It was so sad. And she
oh,
took such good care of it. Yeah.
the only reason I know that is because my son had one and he went, "Mummy, it won't wake up." And I'm like,
Oh,
okay.
she held it till it took its last breath
Oh, bless her.
and
Oh,
kept it warm. Oh, yeah.
oh,
Yeah, she
that's
loves animals more than she does people.
I get that. I did a talk last night and they put author, feng shui consultant, Chinese astrologer, animal lover. And it like the picture they put up was me because I rescue cats off the street and find them homes and everything. And it's just a part of what I made up from. I don't know how to do it any other. But being a child, being intuitive and like yours, it was easier to be around an animal than it was to be around a human when you're younger because you can't understand how you can't voice it. She's obviously got a good mother in you because you understand it. But if you don't have a good mother that wants to blanket, I remember I used to answer the phones before they rang, as a little girl. Oh, the phone's ringing. How shall I pick it up? And my mum go, it's not ringing. And then it would ring.
Ugh,
And she was
wow.
like, she would hate it. I think that as you grow up, I think your discussions in your life is going to be interesting. The good thing is because you are so aligned, dragons really like to learn things around, well, we'll say spirituality. So if you said, all right, we're going to go to a medium or something, she'd be like, yeah, let's go. Alternative things, gong baths. She will
Mhm.
love that.
So when she was little, maybe like 4 or 5, probably about 5, I was giving Reiki to somebody at home. And during my session, she comes in my room and puts her hands on this lady's feet and then
Wow.
leaves. I was like,
I'm a Reiki master teacher, yeah. So I have a cat. As soon as I'm teaching or Reiki's been given, she'll come in the room and just curl all
yep.
around it. And I got her at 5 weeks old and I didn't let her go. And I Reiki'd her from a very, very early age. So for me, and she's born in the snake, so that's interesting. So they do, and I think this is something that you will be able to share with her as soon as she's ready to have the symbols put in her and she can
Mhm.
start to use it.
Yeah. I asked her that when she was little if she wanted me to attune her. And she said no. And I was like, okay. But yeah, she understands it all, and I too, like you said with your son, I allow her to
Yeah.
experience and and not have that confined box that I lived in growing up. But you know what? It is hard when you go out there because you're right. When she goes to school, she sees this small thinking and, everyone trying to be put in the same box. And there's resistance, just like you said.
Yeah, and it won't get any better until she chooses what she wants to do at school. Now, she will be good at school eventually, but when she can choose what she has. But if you get the wrong teacher, you've got no chance with her. No chance.
So true. And you know all this because of your study of this? Well,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, and you also are intuitive and,
Well,
have,
I had to hide it. So when I was a lot younger, one of my friends, when you get to an age where your friends accept you, she said you need to find something. So I found feng shui. So I hid behind feng shui, but still was intuitive. But it wasn't enough. So when I started to learn Chinese astrology, which is metaphysics, so one and one makes two, yeah, it was really lovely because I can just say to you, just from your date of birth, I can say all this about you, and it's the truth. But if I was sitting beside you and I like held your hand or something, or just be in your energy, I would know so much more. But this
right.
is what's happened because of obviously I'm not able to travel in 2020. I had to go on to Zooms.
Hmm.
And that's when I thought, oh my goodness, look at this whole picture you already know. And that's where it matured in the last 4 years to where I am. And that's where the book came from, because it became so obvious talking to people for longer, an hour and a half a person or whatever. And then you have the charts up so you can read people's charts because it's so much more. I think the other thing is if you love it, I love
Yeah.
Chinese astrology with a passion. I just love it. As I can see, it helps so many people. Obviously, this is a love book. I work with business as well, but you know, ultimately, I'm just going to say this out loud. But you've got all these dating sites, yeah, and you put a picture of yourself up, which evidently can be out of date. I have never been
Right.
on a site, yeah, and they can say, "Oh, I'm this or that," but if they put on there and went, "I'm a monkey," yeah, you would genuinely know their character then, wouldn't you? Because
Right.
you'd have the background. They couldn't lie because it's all in the background, yeah.
Oh,
Any dating site, big agency that want me, I will do an app for you or add me to your app, and you will get more, because I think it's all. I'm not saying they're fake, but it's what you say you are. Whereas if you
yes.
put something like they can't get away with it in there,
Mm-hmm. Good point. Oh my gosh. I have your book, PDF because Gavin sent it to me, but I want this book physically. And I know that my whole house is going to be super excited to read it. I might have to find more than one or we're going to be fighting over it.
I think they said they're just managing to get them out now. It's Amazon.
Okay, awesome. Well,
Yeah.
great. Yeah, I can't wait to get it. And I also have an affiliate program. I would love to invite you to the Network of Lightworkers.
Network of light workers.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, definitely send it to
Yes.
me. I love that. I mean, I didn't hear about the word light workers till I was about 30, didn't actually get it, and I'm not going to tell you
Right.
how old I am, but and now it's like one of my favorite things. Like I have a paid group, I have a Facebook page which has 250K followers, but I have my own paid small group. I think it's about 90 in it. And all of those people are what I class as light workers. And it's
Yeah.
amazing. The
Mhm.
difference, how you can see it. And that's why I started to learn about Western astrology as well as Chinese astrology in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I've loved the overlap. And when I wrote the second book that's coming out, I had to learn about crystals because everyone talks about crystals. Well, it's
Yeah.
never been my thing, but
Mhm.
now I'm totally hooked. My present for my son, he's a Aquarius, was can't think what it is. It's purple, and I found one down the lanes in Brighton, and it was his. That's it, and that was his Christmas present. And he went, "Oh wow,"
You know what? So when my dad died, I was about to go into my Reiki 3, and this is like 8 years ago, into my master class. And he had just died. So my Reiki master teacher had said, bring with you some gemstones, because we're going to be doing crystal grids. And I was like, I don't have any. And then I thought, wait a minute. My dad had a little kid rock collection.
right?
And I mean, these little, old tubs with a little kid handwriting in these little tiny drawers that we pull out. And
Wow.
girl, it was a treasure. It still is. And his brother, when he came to his funeral, had mentioned, "Does your dad still have our little kid rock collection?" And I was gonna give it to him, but he's like, "I don't think I could take this on the plane." So I decided to keep it. I asked my brother, I'm like, "Do you want these?" And he's like, "No." And they became like of all the things that my dad left behind, it's like it is treasure.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny about you say about your dad because my dad was a huge supporter of my like I remember being outside his house and I was going home and they had a bungalow and I said, Dad, I can hear water running and I think it's going to come into your bedroom. They had a bungalow, yeah. And he's like, so we got all the dowsing rods out. No, nothing. That night, and we're talking in my 40s, the water came straight through to his room and soaked him. And mum was like, oh, like this. So when he passed in 2017, he has definitely been around for me, like come back, his energy has been around. And then mum died just 3 months ago.
Oh, I'm so
And he's the one that came back and was
sorry.
there and everything. So when people talk about angels and all this sort of thing, I definitely believe in energies coming around you and being with you and supporting you. But going back to crystals, that was such a learning curve to me, but I actually loved it. I loved learning about it. I would never be
Yeah.
an expert on it, but I loved learning about it. Oh, there you go.
Here. I have them all over. But yeah, this is like my favorite stone. It feels so right in my hand. And I've lost it. I've had it over a decade and I've lost it probably several times and it keeps on returning to me.
What is that one then?
This is the Lemurian crystal.
Ah,
Got
okay.
like the lines in it,
Yeah.
every other, and it's got a bunch of eyes at the top that just my hands just fit perfectly on them.
Oh,
So it's just
amazing.
like a sensory thing. I really, really like it.
Yeah.
But I am sentimental, which is a total Taurus thing. And I hold on to things of my dad's. Yeah.
And I'm the same. When I did my mum's house at the last year, I always thought she was really neat and tidy and everything, but she was absolute hoarder. And
Oh,
my
yeah.
brother, he wasn't around at the time. He's done many things after, and I found these odd bags of wool. So I thought, oh, just get rid of them. And then I went in there and there was a gold sovereign. So, in the old days, they used to hide things because they
Yeah.
thought robbers would come in. So then I
Okay.
had
Yeah.
to go through absolutely
Oh,
everything,
right.
every card, everything. And so it's made me, for my son, start this year, well, before this year, starting to like literally look, do I need this? Yeah. So
Right.
you would actually see me as a huge minimalist, huge minimalist.
I would like to be that person.
Yeah. Except for when it comes to cats, I've got 5 rescues.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
can't. I do let them go on to other people, but the last one, no, no, you just get a connection. I saw it as I was going through the village, and it came up to me, and I said to my partner Roger, he hasn't got a home, and then Roger, oh yeah, yeah, he's talked to you, is he? I was like, he hasn't got a home. So I asked the local fish and chips, oh no, he belongs to the flat upstairs. Anyway, long story cut short, he didn't belong to anybody. And then I heard he had an accident, so that was it enough. Down with the cage, picked him up, booked him into the vets. What's his name? I said, I haven't got a name. So they called him Cat. And
Oh,
then,
like
yeah,
Audrey Hepburn.
it was so sweet. Yes, yes.
That's
And I
my
love
Tiffany.
Tiffany. So that's even
That's my
better.
favorite movie.
So then I kept him and I integrated him with my other
Hmm.
2 kitten cats that I'd had. And it turns out that they're 3 tigers. They're all about the same age. Yeah. And you
Oh,
can, and in Chinese astrology, tigers play and tigers like to be together. So 3 different litters that should never get on. They are the best of friends because they're 3 tigers. So there we go.
I have two dogs, and my dogs were given to me divinely as well. I have such amazing stories. Animals are, they're definitely my children too.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, one is a Taurus with us as well. And then the others is an Aquarius. So for we have a lot of Taurus energy, which I guess kind of brings everything down to, you know, to being grounded.
You just made me think actually that my dog is a dragon. I
Really?
didn't work that out. I was just thinking, "Oh, it's Ria, and she's a dragon." So yeah, that's why the household works so well. But we
Right?
all have secret friends, right? I'm
Mhm.
just gonna say. So the secret friend, I'm a rooster, and the secret friend of a rooster is a dragon. Okay.
Oh,
So that these people come into our lives they don't always have to be a best friend, but they teach you things, yeah. So your secret friend would be me. I'm your secret friend as
okay. A
well.
rooster.
So different animals have secret friends, which is in the book.
You know what, Janine, this has been just such a pleasure to have you and meet you. And I would love to continue to work with you. And I can't wait to get your book in my hands. And I can't wait to just learn more about myself through your book. And I've already learned so much, just in this hour. Thank you.
It's been lovely speaking to you, and I look forward to working with you as we
Yeah, I know. I
continue.
want to share you with everyone.
Thank you.
So tell everybody where they can find your book again and tell them the name of the book. And also if you have a website or some social media you want to throw out there.
Okay, so the book is called Date, Love, Marry, Avoid. You can buy it on Amazon, but I don't know, but it is in your big shops over in America, but I don't know all their names. And my website is www.janinelow.co.uk, and Facebook as well. You'll find it. You can see a picture. I think it's that picture behind me, and I give feng shui tips like every Thursday. Feng shui tips. I also share like I love I don't know what you call posts that just mean something, so I share those, and I teach Chinese astrology. So yeah, that's me. I'm there.
That's awesome. Maybe I'll have you on in the future to talk about just feng shui.
Yes, I'll be. My book comes out in December, so yeah, that will be good.
Okay. All right. That would be great. All right. Well, you have a great
All
evening.
right, thank you.
All
Bye.
right.